Why hello there everyone, and welcome to the office. You know, because my name is Dr. Modelot, and modding is what I do, I should be working on many different systems on my channel, right? So far, we've only worked on a couple systems, but please, I'm Dr. Modelot, not Dr. Mod a few things here and there. The reason I'm saying that is because across multiple videos, people have been asking me to mod different systems, and even though I've only been working on a couple so far, I do plan to work on some more, so I thought it would be beneficial to make this video where I can tell you about what systems I plan on modding over the course of the channel. So a couple evenings ago, I sat my butt down and created some thumbnail artwork for my system modding videos. These are just templates, so they aren't necessarily going to be the final look, and I'm also not saying that these are the only systems I'm going to be modding either. These are just the ones I was able to sit down and think up off of the top of my head. Now, before I start talking about the systems we haven't covered yet, let me first talk about the two systems we've already been working on. The first console I started modding for my channel was the Nintendo Wii. Currently, I have 3 videos about it leading up to how to install emulators. However, there's still a ton of work that we need to do on our Wii, and the next video I had in mind for that was what we can do to clean up our Wii system a bit. We set up everything onto an SD card, but it would be easier for us to load most of our data from a USB flash drive instead. We'll do some more interesting work on the Wii once we do that tidying up. The second device we started working on was the Nintendo 3DS and 2DS handhelds. I'm gonna take kind of a hiatus from that one for now though. I had a bit of feedback from people asking me not to mod this system at all, and I understand where they're coming from. The problem is that the 3DS and 2DS are being constantly updated. Nintendo is frequently patching out new modding techniques as they're discovered, like I said in my original video where I talked about sound hacks. That reason was why I didn't start 3DS and 2DS modding, and now that that issue is pretty much back again, we're gonna have to hold off until we have a more concrete method of modding those systems. But maybe we'll talk about using the homebrew launcher a little bit since we have it installed from the last video. Oh ho 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 ho, right, now let's get into the good stuff. The videos I haven't started yet, I'm going to kind of go in order from the systems that I'm most confident in modding to systems I'm going to have to learn a bit first. So the next system we're going to be talking about, the one I've been getting the most requests for, you guessed it, the PlayStation Portable. There is a metric ton of custom mods in Homebrew that can be applied to a PSP, and we're going to have access to those by installing one of the Pro Custom firmwares. This series is also going to have the PSP Go and PSPE models wrapped into it. Modding the PlayStation Portable is going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get it started with you guys. Alright, Dr. Modelot, what else do you got up your sleeve? Well, in my big list of Doctor needs to mod these a lot video game systems is the original Nintendo DS. In all honesty, you can't exactly mod the DS on a software level, however there are many different flash cartridges available for the DS system as well as a few additional accessories that will allow you to do more with your DS. On top of that, the library of homebrew available for the DS is pretty significant, enough that I feel like the Nintendo DS warrants its own modding series. Alright, cool, that's 4 of our video game systems. But we're not done yet. My 5th system on the list here is the original Xbox, and dang is there a lot that you can do with an original Xbox. The variety of custom firmware you can use such as Unleashed X and Kodi are going to make this series a pretty long one, that's for sure. And there's also a couple of hardware changes that we can make to the original Xbox as well, such as of course a hard drive upgrade, which is going to be essential for our work. Next up is a video game system from that same era, and that is the PlayStation 2. You can run some pretty rad mods in Homebrew through it, that's for sure. However, you're gonna get the most out of your PS2 if you're using an original fat model that allows you to add a hard drive in the mix. With that, I'll definitely have a focus on that version of the PS2, and not so much on the slimmer model, even though some of the mods will work on that version. What else you got, Dr. Modelot? What else are you doing? Well, I would really like to talk about modding the PlayStation 3. We practically have the entire PlayStation family here almost. The PlayStation 3 does have a good chunk of homebrew you can add to it, not as much as say the Wii or the original Xbox, but you do have some homebrew games, emulators, and other cool utilities that are totally worth mentioning. Not to mention, on specific firmware versions of the PS3, you have the capability of installing a bootable Linux operating system. That will definitely be interesting to try out. And you know what? This is definitely a good one. There's a lot to learn with this system, but it's super versatile once you figure it out, and that's the Raspberry Pi system on a chip. We could easily go over Linux, RetroPie, Kodi, and, well, plenty of other mods using this little system. And they all vary in skill. This computer will keep us busy for quite a while. And we aren't done yet. Next is the Sega Dreamcast. Modding this guy is sort of an interesting little adventure. I had a Dreamcast a while back that I traded in for some reason that I don't remember, but I was at least smart enough to keep the hard-to-find modding tool for it. It might be easier to buy this tool these days than it was when I first got it, but there's a decent variety of mods that we can go over for the Dreamcast, including, of course, emulators. Okay, I got a few more systems left on this list, and another one I had planned out was, well, the Ouya. I know this system got a ton of hate when it first came out, and a lot of it had to do with both the controller and the fact that the system overall was pretty underwhelming. So let's try to fix that. We're gonna sideload some apps onto the Ouya, and we'll take a look at CyanogenMod, which is going to allow us to change our Ouya operating system over into a full Android operating system with Google Play, and that'll definitely be worth the work. Okay, there's about 3 systems left on my list here, and these next 2 aren't gonna be very easy to mod like the other ones. Next up is the Wii U. So, I know it can be modded, but I haven't really read up on modding it a whole lot recently. While that might not sound so great, Nintendo is ending production of the Wii U, and I think down the road we'll have some more modding solutions for it. Typically when a company cancels a system like this entirely, they don't usually pump out more patches for very long. But we'll see when we get there. Alright, the second to last system. I'll be honest, I definitely need to figure it out, and that's another member of the PlayStation family, the PlayStation Vita. With this guy, you have to have a very specific firmware version. Very, very specific. I know that at least. Modding this one might not be difficult, I don't really know, but just finding a Vita that can be modded will be an adventure in and of itself, I'm sure. Alright, Doctor, what's the last system you're gonna work on? Well, let me show you. Ta-da! But Dr. Modelot, there's nothing there. It's just a generic background with your logo. What's it supposed to be? Well, originally this was actually going to be a mod series for the Retron 5. But I realized the Retron 5 only has one mod, and that's pretty much it. And there are a lot of video game systems out there and portables that are like that, to where you install a mod and then there's just not much more you can do with it. For that reason, I have this generic thumbnail for a series of systems with easy one-off mods, where there's going to be 1, maybe 2 videos for a particular gaming device, and that'll be pretty much it. And that's pretty much all of them. Now, like I said, this list is not finalized. Things can be changed, things can be added, and if you know of any systems that aren't on this list, please go ahead and mention them in the comments. Tell me what kinds of mods you want to see for your suggestion, and maybe they'll end up on the channel too. Hey, if you're a long-time subscriber, or if you're new to the office, you should check out the Dr. Modelot Facebook page. It gets updated just as frequently as the channel does, and even a little more. But, of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel while you're here. This is Dr. Modelot. Thank you so much for stopping by the office.